The biggest mistake your enemy made was thinking a photograph could capture your spirit. It only captured their fate. Now imagine this for a moment, chosen one. Someone, maybe a so-called friend, a jealous sibling, an old lover, or even a hidden enemy, took your picture, not to frame it with love, but to offer it to someone else, to something else. They gave your face, your energy, your name to a force so dark they thought it would curse you, hex you, haunt you into silence. But what happened next? It backfired so hard, even the devil flinched. That photo didn't bind you, it burned them. Why? Because when you're truly chosen, your image carries energy. It's not just light on paper, it's frequency. And when that frequency enters a realm, it's not meant to bow to. That realm either submits or shatters. And this time, it shattered. Their ritual failed. Their whispering didn't work. The photo turned against them. Because your spirit doesn't sit still inside a frame. It moves, it watches, it speaks. Even they weren't prepared for that. And here's a fact that will make your bones sit straighter. Ancient cultures believed that a photograph could steal the soul, but what they never considered is what happens when the soul inside that photo is too protected, too sacred, too untouchable for anyone to possess. That's you. Your enemies thought they were handing your spirit over to destruction, but all they did was invite destruction into their house. And thank you, chosen one. Don't forget to pay this message back by simply pressing the like and subscribe to help spread this message to more souls. It's the responsibility of all of us to spread the light. And thank you truly for being part of this mission. You're not just a viewer. You're part of a force, a frequency that cannot be copied, contained, or destroyed. Now, let's get into it. Because this isn't just about a photo, it's about why they gave it away in the first place, and why what happened next left them haunted. See, chosen one, when they handed over your image, they weren't just giving up a photo, they were confessing, they were admitting silently that your presence is too powerful to face alone, that your energy disrupts their shadows, that your name makes things crawl behind the veil. They tried to outsource their jealousy, hoping something darker could do what they couldn't, break you. But the thing they forgot is this. When you're marked by the universe, even your reflection is protected, even your silence is armed. You could be sleeping, laughing, minding your business, and your energy will still defend you. And that's exactly what happened. They gave your photo to something they thought would feed off your light, but your light blinded it. Your frequency overloaded its senses, and instead of binding you, it exposed them. They watched in horror as the very entity they thought would destroy you started to turn on them. Nightmares began. Voices they couldn't silence. Shadows in mirrors. It wasn't you haunting them. It was the energy they invited in, confused and enraged, because it couldn't touch the one it was sent to find. And when darkness fails, it feeds on the ones who opened the door. This is why they're scared now, chosen one. Not just of you, but of what they activated. Because the photo didn't curse you. It marked them. It became a receipt. A receipt for envy. A receipt for betrayal. A receipt the universe never forgets to cash. And here's the part that'll hit the deepest. You don't even remember that moment. You don't even recall that photo being taken. But they do. Because they held onto it with intention, and intention is energy, and energy always returns to sender. They didn't curse you, they signed their own spiritual eviction notice, and now everything around them is crumbling because they tried to offer something they couldn't contain. So the next time someone says your glow is just confidence, remember this. Even devils know the difference between a photo of a person and a photo of a presence. Yours carries weight. Your eyes carry storms. Your smile carries warnings. And your silence. It's louder than their entire ritual. They gave your photo to a devil, and the devil said no, not because it was good, but because it was too powerful to be touched without consequences. And those consequences, they're unfolding right now. Every whisper they spoke behind your back, every ritual they thought you'd never notice, every dark intention they buried in silence is rising. And it's not coming for you, it's coming from you, because your energy doesn't forget. Your aura doesn't forgive what tried to enslave it. Chosen one, this isn't revenge, this is return. The universe doesn't miss, and your photo was never just a photo, it was a mirror, and now they're forced to face exactly what's staring back. So before we dive into what really happened after they gave your photo away, I want you to pause for a moment, chosen one, and type the number 777 in the comments if you know your energy is untouchable, if you feel deep down that no weapon formed against you ever really lands. And if this message already stirred something in your spirit, bless the mission with a super thanks. Whether it's $1 or a drop of gratitude, it fuels the fire that keeps this truth flowing to those who need it most. This isn't just a video, it's spiritual evidence. Evidence that you were never the one in danger. They were. And now, let's step deeper into the truth. Because what happened after they handed over your photo didn't just shock the devil, it terrified them too. If you're a real one, you'll feel the pull to stay until the very end. Let's get started. Number 1. They sat in the dark, whispering your name, and still couldn't stop what's coming. They studied your photo like it held a map to your destruction. Turns out, it held the blueprint to their downfall. Chosen one, you have no idea how many rooms your name has echoed in without your permission, behind closed doors, in places without walls, at tables not meant for humans. They've been studying you, watching, obsessing, holding up your image like it's a cursed relic they don't understand, but still fear. They called meetings, secret gatherings that no light dares to enter. They passed around your photograph like it was a puzzle piece from a prophecy they failed to stop. But this wasn't prophecy. This was payback. And the moment that photo touched their hands, the countdown began. Imagine this, a room cloaked in smoke and silence where beings not born of this realm gather. They've shaped wars, manipulated minds, rewritten history behind curtains you never knew existed. These are not people. They're shadows with influence, entities made of pure calculation and control. And on their sacred black marble table, your image landed like a glitch in their system. Your face, a threat. Your essence, unexplainable. Your very existence, a problem. One of them, a thing that mimics human form but blinks with eyes that remember fallen galaxies, lifts your photo. It doesn't speak right away, because for the first time in a long time, it doesn't know what it's looking at. It expected prey. It found prophecy. It expected weakness. It found warfare. That's you, chosen one, and whether you realize it or not, your light disrupted something ancient and dark the moment that flashbulb hit your skin. You might ask, why are they so obsessed? Why me? Why now? Here's the truth they'll never admit out loud. Your awakening wasn't on their schedule. Your rise wasn't part of their equation. And your energy, it doesn't match anything in their database. It bends frequencies. It crashes patterns. It makes their rituals glitch. You, standing in your living room, folding laundry or wiping tears off your cheek, are breaking codes written before human language even existed. You are a problem they can't solve because you weren't made to fit their system. You were born to end it. They call themselves the Council of Shadows, but even shadows tremble when the light gets too close. And your light, chosen one, didn't knock on their door, it kicked it open. That's why they're scared. That's why they accepted your photo like it was some forbidden key. Because if they couldn't control you in the physical world, maybe they could trap you through the symbolic. Maybe they could steal your frequency, dissect it, reverse engineer your power. But here's what slapped them in the face the moment they tried. You can't contain what was born to collapse everything that hides. They scanned your image, ran tests, compared your soul print against archives from wars and bloodlines and curses and spells, and nothing matched. You weren't in their charts. You weren't predicted. You were inserted. Like a divine hacker in their code, you are proof that the system can be infiltrated. That's why they wanted you gone. Not because of what you've done, but because of what you represent. You represent proof that someone like you can exist, rise, and remain untouched. You are the walking contradiction to everything they built. And the more they stared into your eyes through that photo, the more it stared back. They don't fear you because you're loud. They fear you because you're undeniable. Chosen one, let's be brutally honest for a second. This was never just spiritual warfare. This was spiritual exposure. They thought they were studying you, but your image was scanning them. Every being in that room felt their core shake, and none of them spoke it out loud, but their energy betrayed them. Fear, confusion, recognition. They knew they were looking at the very force their ancestors warned them about. Not a destroyer, but a reckoner. Do you know what happens when beings who thrive in secrets feel seen? They panic, they scramble, they try to erase what they can't rewrite. But the problem is, it's already too late, because you weren't meant to just wake up. You were meant to be seen waking. You were meant to be noticed, not for attention, but for consequence, for justice, for divine return. So here's the gut punch. The photo wasn't cursed. It was a mirror of what they could never be, of what they tried to erase from the world and failed. You are living proof that power can exist outside of control, that light can rise from trauma, that fire can survive flood, that silence can be louder than spells. And now they're scrambling because nothing in their archives explains you. Nothing in their council prepares them for what you represent. You are not a prophecy fulfilled. You are a pattern breaker. And that scares them more than any weapon. So they sit in that room, in those cloaked dimensions, whispering about you, analyzing your energy like it's a virus, because to their system, it is. You are the glitch. You are the crack in the wall. You are the unexpected ripple in their pool of darkness. And every time they try to seal it, it spreads. Because you weren't meant to bow. You were meant to break the spell. And let this sink in, chosen one. The more they fear you, the more they prove your power. You don't need to fight them. Your existence is the fight. Your survival is the strike. Your evolution is the win. So don't question why they came for you. Question why you never flinched. Because while they planned in secret, you prepared in silence. And now that you're rising, there's no council, no curse, no creature that can rewrite what the universe already stamped into your being. They sat in the dark, whispering your name, and still couldn't stop what's coming, because you are what's coming. Number 2. They studied your scars, hoping to see weakness, but all they found was power that terrified them. They saw your scars and mistook them for damage, but you wear them like armor, etched proof that even hell couldn't keep you. You didn't survive to feel sorry for yourself. You survived to scare the ones who bet against your healing. Scars don't whisper defeat. They scream proof that you bled and kept walking anyway. The pain you turned into power is the very force making them shake in silence. Imagine this, chosen one. A shadowed figure leans forward, their hand trembling slightly as they stare at your photo under dim, unnatural light. Not because your face is threatening, not because your smile is weaponized, but because your eyes, even frozen in time, watch them, like you knew this moment would come, like your energy anticipated this exact reckoning, and it did. That's the part they can't compute. Another member of that hidden council shifts nervously. Their eyes, black slits that once saw through human deception, start to narrow with confusion. The scars, they whisper, they're deeper than calculated. This one doesn't just survive, they transform. And that, right there, was the beginning of their panic. You want to know what they fear the most, chosen one? It's not your victories, it's your wounds, because only real warriors carry pain that didn't destroy them. Your scars tell stories of battles they tried to make you forget, of betrayals they designed to keep you broken, of storms they thought would end you, but you didn't just survive. You alchemized every ounce of that agony into power they can't measure, into frequency they can't replicate, into soul currency they can't steal. They hope to see someone weak, someone fractured, someone desperate for healing. Instead, they saw a being forged by fire, refined, not ruined, hardened, not hollowed. You weren't stitched together, you reassembled yourself like a cosmic weapon. And every scar became a rune, a marking, a seal of power that now pulses through your aura, whether you're awake or asleep. You might be asking, why are they staring so hard at the pain I've buried? Why are my scars making them so uneasy? Because, chosen one, scars are a language, and yours speak in dialects only the ancient fear. Every heartbreak you crawled through taught your spirit how to bend reality. Every betrayal taught you how to become unreadable, unshakable, unbreakable. They know you didn't walk through fire, you danced in it. You didn't fall into darkness, you mapped it. You didn't die in silence, you learned how to echo inside it. That's why they're terrified. Imagine this. Your image on their table, a magnified scan of your energetic blueprint, glowing red-hot with frequencies they've never encountered. They try to interpret the patterns, cross-referencing symbols with old tomes and failed rituals. But the results make no sense, because your scars don't match pain, they match evolution. They thought suffering would shrink you, but every trauma only mutated your light into something more lethal. One of them, trembling now, wonders aloud, why does it feel like it's watching us? And that's when they realize your energy is alive inside that photograph, not because someone cast a spell, but because your essence refuses to be confined. Your survival burned through the ink. Your frequency warped the very light that captured you. Your scars reached through dimensions to say, I'm still here, and you failed. Here's what most won't tell you, chosen one. Your scars are not shame. They are signals, markings, spiritual tattoos of everything you've overcome. And when the enemy sees them, they don't feel pity. They feel panic. Because every mark proves they couldn't break you. And if they couldn't break you then, they sure as hell can't stop what you've become now. Think of it like this, a cracked sword that reforged itself sharper than before, a broken branch that grew into an unkillable root, a shattered mirror that reflects 10 times clearer. That's you. They tried to study your pain, to find your weakness, but all they found was a power map, etched in scars they didn't give you permission to see. And now they're asking the only question that truly haunts them. If this one survived all that, what happens if they fully awaken? Chosen one, you already know the answer. You're not here to prove anything. Your scars already testify. You're not here to seek validation. Your healing already radiates. You're not here to revisit your pain. You're here to weaponize its lessons, and that's what shakes them to the core, because they can't erase your story. They can't unwrite your journey. They can't reverse what you've endured. And worst of all, they can't stop what's coming next, because it's already moving through your aura, through your name, through the very space you walk into. Your scars turned into codes. Codes that unlock strength most beings will never comprehend. They handed your photo to a devil, thinking your pain was still raw. But even the devil looked at it and saw something else. A warrior cloaked in human skin, a survivor with unfinished business, a soul that doesn't beg for peace. It demands it, and demands it with interest. So here's your reminder, in case the world tried to make you forget. You are not damaged. You are documented. You are not broken. You are branded. And you are not here to explain your scars. You're here to use them. The Council is afraid not just of who you are, but of what your scars mean for their future. They're signs that the systems they built don't work on everyone. That trauma doesn't always produce obedience. That some people heal and become ungovernable. Chosen one, they didn't realize your scars were sacred, but now they know, and they wish they'd never looked that close, because when the devil stared into your photo, the devil didn't see a victim. The devil saw revenge wrapped in silence. Number 3, they knew you'd come. They just prayed you'd never remember who you are. The biggest threat isn't someone who fights the system. It's someone who makes the system irrelevant. They don't fear your fists. They fear your awakening, because once you see clearly, you can never be controlled again. In the deepest corner of that room, where even the shadows seem to obey, one figure speaks. Its voice doesn't echo. It drags. It sounds like dust falling through time. The eldest, the one they all look to when things slip beyond calculation, and it speaks not with anger, but with warning. If this one reaches full awakening before we act, it hisses, the cascade could destabilize everything. That's you, chosen one, the wild card, the variable they couldn't suppress. You don't just threaten their control, you cancel its relevance. You don't beg to be seen. Your energy forces exposure. They've seen thousands like you try to rise before, but none like this. None like you. You might ask yourself, why do they care so much? Why now? Why me? Because most chosen ones burn out, get distracted, get emotional, get manipulated into chasing ghosts or proving points. But you didn't. You didn't fold. You didn't sell your light for comfort. You suffered in silence, and somehow you evolved in the dark. That's what the eldest felt through your photo, an awakening they can't contain. A signal that your power is no longer building, it's breaching. Imagine a dam designed to hold spiritual silence, centuries old, reinforced by fear, manipulation, and energetic control. And now imagine a single crack appearing in it, with your name etched inside. That's what your awakening is to them. A collapse protocol, the kind that doesn't ask permission, the kind that rewrites balance. They've always ruled through illusions, but you, chosen one, you don't fight illusions, you see through them, and once one soul sees clearly, others follow. That's the real fear, not your strength, but your influence. You are the tipping point. So the eldest warned them, not because they could stop it, but because they knew it was already too late. You're not just remembering who you are, you're reminding the world what it forgot. And now, The ones who built the Matrix are praying you don't tear it apart just by existing fully awake. Number 4. Even their strongest weapon is starting to doubt the war. The moment the weapon starts asking questions, the war is already lost. When the one trained to break souls starts wondering if he's serving the right side, that's when empires fall. They thought they had one last move, one guaranteed strike, the soul breaker, their prized shadow, the one who dismantled thousands with a whisper, made kings collapse without bloodshed, and smiled while doing it. He was their masterpiece, an assassin of belief, a killer of inner fire. He didn't use chains or blades, he used doubt. And doubt always did the job. Until now. He enters just as they expect, impeccably dressed, radiating charm, carrying that calm darkness that once made even the heavens second-guess themselves. His presence alone shifts the room. But this time, something's different. There's a hesitation in his aura, a pause behind his polished words, a fracture in his programming. "Another chosen one causing trouble?" he asks, casual. But they hear it. Beneath the smirk, there's hope. Hope that this chosen one is different. That maybe, just maybe, this time he won't be the one to win. You might wonder, chosen one, why would the enemy's greatest weapon hesitate now? Why doubt after breaking so many before? Because when he looked at your image, he didn't see fear. He didn't see confusion. He didn't see someone waiting to be rescued. He saw clarity, power that didn't need a crown, light that wasn't seeking approval. He saw someone who knew, and that knowing shook something loose in him. Because deep down, even weapons get tired of being used. Imagine being forged in fire, sharpened by pain, and sent to destroy others who remind you of who you used to be. That's his curse. But your energy cracked it. You didn't fight him. You didn't beg. You simply existed, with truth radiating through every scar. And that truth is louder than all the spells, chains, and lies he's ever served. He was built to break souls, but yours didn't flinch, and in that stillness he saw his own reflection, not as a weapon, but as a prisoner. They sent him to end you, chosen one, but now he wonders if crossing you is the moment he finally sets himself free. Number 5. They sent him to study you, but instead he found himself. The devil was told to break you, but he looked into your scars and saw the mirror he's been running from his whole existence. They told him you were the problem, but the moment he held your photo, he realized you might be the cure. They handed him your image like a weapon. With cold precision, the council delivered their command. Study this one. Find the breaking point. Neutralize them before full potential. They spoke with urgency, the kind that tastes like fear, because they knew they were running out of time. You were rising too fast, thinking too clearly, healing too completely, and if they didn't stop you now, they never would. So he took the photo, the soul breaker, the charmer, the executioner of destinies, the one they trust when all else fails. His hand didn't shake, his face didn't flinch, but deep inside, the moment his eyes met yours, everything shifted. Because what stared back from that photograph wasn't prey, it wasn't weakness, it wasn't another easy target. It was truth, raw, brutal, unkillable. You weren't radiating light like a saint, you were glowing like a survivor. And that kind of glow doesn't come from peace. It comes from war. He stared longer than usual. Something about your eyes pulled at him, not as a threat, but as a memory of himself, of who he used to be before they turned him into what he is now. You reminded him of the version of himself they buried long ago. And for a moment, just a flicker, he hesitated, not because he couldn't find your weakness, but because he didn't want to. You might ask, why would the one sent to destroy me suddenly feel something? Because, chosen one, your energy doesn't beg to be understood. It forces recognition. It activates the truth in anyone who still has even a flicker of a soul. And this devil, deep down, he's tired of serving darkness that devours him too. He's tired of destroying those who mirror his own pain. And now, holding your photo, he doesn't see a mission. He sees a reckoning, his own. They sent him to study you, to break you, but instead you exposed him, without a word, without a weapon, just your existence, reminding him that some people don't die in fire, they rise from it. Number 6, they couldn't break you, because you already broke and came back indestructible. They didn't realize you'd already died in private, so there's nothing left for them to kill in public. The strongest souls aren't untouched. They're shattered, reforged, and sharpened with memory. You can't curse what's already risen from its own ashes. You can only watch it burn brighter. For the first time, even the devil hesitated. Not because he lacked power, but because yours didn't crumble like it was supposed to. He's seen fear. He's seen denial. He's seen spirits fold at the sound of their own name, whispered in darkness. But yours didn't fold. Yours watched him back, not with arrogance, but with memory. The kind that says, I've already died before, and I chose to return. He looked at your image and saw something that doesn't exist in his realm, a soul already broken and rebuilt without instruction. Betrayal didn't destroy you, it taught you discernment. Loss didn't end you, it redirected you. Heartbreak didn't make you hollow, it forged a weapon inside your chest. Every failure you endured became part of your structure. You didn't just survive, you transformed. And now, you're not emotional rubble, you're reinforced steel. Imagine a glass that once shattered, but every piece was melted and reshaped into a blade. That's your soul. It doesn't reflect like it used to, but it cuts through lies, through illusion, through curses. That's what the devil saw. Not a victim, but a weapon with a heartbeat. You might wonder, why didn't they see this before? Why come for me now? Because they assumed your quiet meant you were dormant. They assumed your scars made you weak. They thought your past was still holding you down. What they didn't know is that you already faced your past alone. You already met your demons in silence. And when you emerged, you weren't looking for revenge. You were walking proof that pain has a second phase, rebirth. They sent the devil, and for once, even he couldn't compute what he was up against. Because how do you defeat something that's already been through hell and walked out carrying the flames? You, chosen one, aren't just unbreakable, you're unreachable, because what lives in you now, they can't curse what already survived the fire. Number 7, they couldn't break you, because you already broke and came back indestructible. They didn't realize you'd already died in private, so there's nothing left for them to kill in public. The strongest souls aren't untouched, they're shattered, reforged, and sharpened with memory. You can't curse what's already risen from its own ashes, you can only watch it burn brighter. For the first time, even the devil hesitated. Not because he lacked power, but because yours didn't crumble like it was supposed to. He's seen fear, he's seen denial, he's seen spirits fold at the sound of their own name, whispered in darkness. But yours didn't fold. Yours watched him back, not with arrogance, but with memory. The kind that says, I've already died before, and I chose to return." He looked at your image and saw something that doesn't exist in his realm, a soul already broken and rebuilt without instruction. Betrayal didn't destroy you. It taught you discernment. Loss didn't end you. It redirected you. Heartbreak didn't make you hollow. It forged a weapon inside your chest. Every failure you endured became part of your structure. You didn't just survive, you transformed. And now, you're not emotional rubble, you're reinforced steel. Imagine a glass that once shattered, but every piece was melted and reshaped into a blade. That's your soul. It doesn't reflect like it used to, but it cuts through lies, through illusion, through curses. That's what the devil saw. Not a victim, but a weapon with a heartbeat. You might wonder, why didn't they see this before? Why come for me now? Because they assumed your quiet meant you were dormant. They assumed your scars made you weak. They thought your past was still holding you down. What they didn't know is that you already faced your past alone. You already met your demons in silence. And when you emerged, you weren't looking for revenge. You were walking proof that pain has a second phase, rebirth. They sent the devil, and for once, even he couldn't compute what he was up against, because how do you defeat something that's already been through hell and walked out carrying the flames? You, chosen one, aren't just unbreakable, you're unreachable, because what lives in you now? They can't curse what already survived the fire. Number 8. They thought you were alone, but you're the signal calling a whole army out of hiding. One awakened soul is dangerous. A connected one is unstoppable. You weren't sent here to fit in. You were sent here to light a flare that would wake the others. Your vibe isn't just energy, it's a ripple effect, and it's waking up every soul that forgot they were built for war too. When they stared into your photo, they expected to see isolation, a single figure, a target, a soul outnumbered and vulnerable. But what they saw instead was connection, a pulse, a growing signal. They saw others, awakened souls scattered across this dimension, each carrying their own scarred truth, but all silently drawn to you. You are not the only one rising, but you are the one pulling others toward the light without ever asking them to follow. You don't manipulate, you don't persuade, you don't recruit, you radiate. And that radiation doesn't just attract, it activates. Your existence reminds others that they're not broken, they're dormant. Until now. You're the mirror that shows them what they buried, what they feared, what they are capable of becoming again. You might wonder, why is that dangerous? Why would my alignment with others shake the enemy? Because a single awakened soul is a glitch, but a network. That's a collapse protocol. That's how systems fail. That's how shadows scatter. You're not building a movement. They are being magnetized to your frequency without even understanding why. And when they arrive, they're not followers. They're allies, each one armed with memory, fire, and a silent vow to never sleep again. And here's the wild twist they never expected. Even the one sent to destroy you feels it. The soul breaker, the charm, the one they trusted to finish the job. When he looked at your photo, he didn't just see your energy. He saw his own reflection beside you, not as enemy, as ally, not as destroyer, as redeemed. And that single vision, the idea that even he could choose light, shook the entire room. You are not converting souls, you're reminding them. You're not building armies, you're igniting them. This is no longer about survival, this is activation, and the network is online. Number 9, they mistook you for destruction, but you came to rebuild what they never had the courage to fix. You weren't born to burn the world down. You were born to expose the rot and rebuild the bones with fireproof truth. Chaos without consciousness is destruction, but chaos with purpose, that's revolution. They called you dangerous because you questioned the structure, but what they feared most is that you'd replace it with something better. When they looked at your energy through that photograph, they didn't see random noise. They saw patterns, quantum threads bending, frequencies refusing to obey. They saw order that didn't follow rules, your own rules. And that's what shook them the most. You're not just a force, chosen one. You are conscious chaos, not the kind that destroys everything blindly, but the kind that chooses what must fall and what must rise in its place. You're not here to tear systems apart just to watch them collapse. You're here to dismantle with precision, because you know the difference between power and corruption, between structure and control. You were never meant to be contained in their glass cages of obedience. You were meant to expand, to reshape, to show others that the limits they've lived under were always illusions. Imagine this: a wildfire doesn't apologize for burning, but when it's done, the soil is richer, the roots stronger, the old dead wood is gone. That's you. You move through broken systems not to shatter everything, but to purge the poison. You don't scream for destruction, you whisper designs for something better. And those who feel your presence know it's not the end you bring, it's the beginning after the lie dies. You might ask, why would they try so hard to label me as chaos? Why push that fear? Because if people ever realized that your energy isn't destructive, it's reconstructive, they'd stop fearing you and start following you. They'd start questioning what's been sold as truth. They'd start seeing the cracks in the system you refuse to obey. And that's revolution on a quantum level. They wanted your chaos to look reckless, but the universe knows better. Your power is precise, timed, divine in its disruption. And when you move through a system, you don't just break it, you recode it. Number 10, they can feel it now. Your awakening isn't coming. It's already here, and it's changing everything. The most unstoppable force isn't someone who takes power. It's someone who realizes they already had it. You won't need to raise your voice. Your energy will raise the room. Awakening doesn't scream. It doesn't chase. It arrives, and everything built on illusion starts to tremble. The photograph doesn't just sit still anymore. It pulses, alive, defiant, uncontainable, because your full awakening isn't some far-off prophecy. It's happening now, and the council, so sure they had time, so arrogant in their planning, can already feel the edges of reality bending around the truth. You're becoming something they can't predict, control, or survive. This awakening isn't loud. It doesn't need to be. It happens in the silence of your self-recognition. It happens in the still moments when your spirit says, I remember now. And when that remembering reaches full force, you won't just walk different. You'll move dimensions. You'll shift rooms just by entering. You won't conquer by threat. You'll conquer by example. Because true power, chosen one, doesn't dominate. It liberates. You're not awakening to command others. You're awakening to show them they can command themselves. And that's the shift. That's the quake that's coming. When people stop following fear and start following frequency, yours. You might wonder, what exactly will change? How will this affect the world around me? Everything. The people who once ignored you will feel drawn to you without knowing why. Those who doubted you will begin to question everything they believe. And those still asleep, some will wake, some will flee, but none will remain untouched. Because your awakening is a mirror. It forces every soul you meet to face what they've denied, buried, or abandoned. Imagine being a walking activation code, not needing to preach, post, or prove. Just being becomes the message. Your healed energy makes others uncomfortable, not because you're aggressive, but because you're real. And in a world built on pretending, authenticity is the loudest revolution. So now the council watches your photograph ripple like water struck by lightning. They know what's next. You won't beg. You won't break. You'll be. And being fully awake will be enough to turn their whole world to dust. Number 11. They sat at a cosmic table to plot your end, but you already knew the meeting was coming. Confidence is the quietest sound in the universe and the loudest threat to anyone who fears the truth. You weren't surprised by the war. You were built for it, and every step they planned behind your back, you already walked through in your spirit. The council is restless now. Their patience is cracking, the room thick with tension. The devil, once calm, once confident, now watches your future unfold like a film he's not directing. He sees it, scene by scene. You rising, you leading, you changing everything, and no matter how many times he rewinds the vision, the ending never changes. You win. They thought you were stumbling blindly through this life, unaware of the plots circling your name. But here's the twist they never expected. You already knew. You felt this meeting long before it happened. In your sleep, in your solitude, in that quiet fire burning behind your eyes. You didn't just survive to make it here, you arrived prepared. You build bridges where others only see burned ground. You see through division like it's glass. Where they see chaos, you see a pattern waiting to be decoded. Where they see a threat, you see an opportunity to create what's never been done. That's what terrifies them now, your confidence, not arrogance, not ego, just pure, earned, cosmic certainty. You might ask, how could I possibly know what they're planning? Because your spirit already walked this battlefield. Your higher self sat at that table long before they summoned it. You saw the chessboard before they moved their first pawn. And that's why you stay calm. That's why your silence cuts louder than their threats. You don't need to rush. You don't need to convince. You've seen the outcome already. Imagine this. You walk into a war room where your enemies whisper strategy, and instead of flinching, you smile because the script they're following. You wrote the rewrite. Your power isn't reaction, it's alignment, and alignment makes you untouchable. Now the devil leans forward, eyes narrowed, not with hate, but with awe. He sees it clearly now. You're not a glitch. You're the inevitable conclusion, and every step they take to stop you only gets you closer to your win. Number 12. The movement is spreading, and they're finally afraid, for real this time. It started with one awakened soul. Now it's a wildfire, and every attempt to stop it just feeds the flame. When people move from survival to purpose, no council, no devil, no empire can control what comes next. The greatest terror to the powerful isn't rebellion, it's unity without greed. The devil stares into the photo now, but it's no longer just your image. It's become a window into something bigger than you, something alive, a movement, a force, a rising tide of awakened souls, all drawn to each other not by manipulation or fear, but by resonance. Every single person touched by your energy becomes a new flame, a new signal, and the more they try to suppress it, the more connected it becomes. This isn't a trend, it's a shift, and the council finally feels what they've avoided for lifetimes: true fear, not the kind they're used to managing, not whispers and risks. No, this is existential. This is the collapse of everything they built, not because of a revolution with weapons, but because of a movement powered by giving instead of taking. You might be asking, how can they be so scared if we've never even fought back? Because they finally understand. Your power doesn't come from control. It comes from alignment. You're not doing this for attention, revenge, or validation. You're doing it to give what was never given to you. That's what they can't duplicate. That's what terrifies them. You don't lead through domination. You lead through example. And example, when multiplied across awakened souls, becomes a legacy they cannot erase. Imagine a forest they tried to burn to ashes, only to find that every tree now regrows with intention. That's the movement. That's the energy behind your photo. It's not just your awakening anymore. It's collective memory reactivating. And every soul you've impacted becomes a mirror, reflecting that truth outward. Now they scramble. They talk in circles, debate deals, threats, distractions. But the truth is, their motives are irrelevant now. The current has shifted, the power is moving, and the world is no longer listening to fear. It's following you. Number 13. Even the devil chose light, because your presence made the darkness feel its own emptiness. The deepest form of power isn't domination. It's the ability to make even your enemy question who they've become. When love becomes louder than fear, even those born in darkness start reaching for the light. You didn't destroy your enemies, you converted the frequency. That's what real transformation looks like. The devil finally saw it, not through threats, not through defeat, but through a realization too heavy to ignore. He didn't want to fight anymore, not because he lost, but because you reminded him of what he gave up to win. Standing before your energy, raw, calm, unbothered, he saw something that even his power couldn't touch. Peace without compromise. And in that moment, villainy began to rot in his hands. He switched sides, not because he was forced, but because your very existence proved another way. You didn't shame him, you didn't attack him, you just became yourself. And that alone was enough to make him wonder, what if I've been on the wrong side of this story all along? The council was speechless. Their weapon, their guarantee, had defected, and not through manipulation, but through revelation. That's the thing they never saw coming. That redemption would be your greatest ripple. That your journey, filled with betrayal and abandonment, wasn't just pain. It was partnership with adversity. Every scar became a sentence in your story, every loss a teacher, and every enemy you didn't destroy with revenge, you disarmed with presence. You might be asking, what does this all mean now? What happens next? This is what happens. A new reality begins, a reality where transformation is inevitable, where the photograph meant to curse you now glows with purpose, drawing allies across dimensions, across timelines, across belief systems, where creation finally overrides destruction, not through fantasy, but through awakening. And you are the living evidence. Proof that love doesn't mean weakness, that justice bends slowly, but always toward those who dare to grab hold, that power without ego is still power, just evolved. The network grows, the council weakens, and you, chosen one, you keep walking. Because this is your time, and they can't unsee what you've become. And now you understand, chosen one. This was never just about a photograph. It was a trap that backfired, a ritual that revealed your truth. They thought they were studying you, but in the end, they exposed themselves. You weren't meant to be neutralized. You were meant to be noticed. And now, it's too late. to unsee what you've awakened. If this hit your soul, drop 777 in the comments to confirm you're walking in full power. Like, subscribe, and share this message to awaken another chosen one, because they tried to bury us, but we are the seeds breaking through.